Well, I've been playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive for 11 years now since its release in 2012, and it's gone from being just a LAN party career to my go-to game. I've sunk literally thousands of hours in this, whether I'm testing hardware or testing my metal in this online matchmaking. We will take a closer look at the Counter-Strike 2's technical changes in a digital foundry analysis soon. But the base that the game ditches to the old Source engine, based on the DirectX 9 and originally released in 2012, the Source 2 and the modern Vulkan graphics API. Counter-Strike 2 is finally here and gamers can have a new Counter-Strike experience. The game has undergone a complete overhaul and now includes updated maps, improved lighting, and new gameplay elements. In the backing of the new game engine, Counter-Strike 2 boasts of a new engine Source 2 and a modern Vulkan graphics API, placing the old Source engine based on DirectX 9. Valve rebuilt the game more than a decade old in a new engine, which was no mean feat. The new engine creates solid foundation for the future upgrades and improvements. Well, here are all the 10 features Valve is bringing it up to the Counter-Strike 2. New environmental and blood splatter effect. Counter-Strike 2 has a brand new effect on the environmental interact with other in-game elements. The fire from the Molotovs or the incendiary grenades also look more alive now. The HE grenades explode differently and look more realistic as the effect takes place when they land. In addition to this, a big boom happens when the C4 explodes on sight, as if a mini nuke exploded in that area. It's quite theatrical. Also, there is upgraded player blood splatters. When you shoot a person, even a friendly fire or something, there used to be a blood splatter around that area in CSGO. But now, in Counter-Strike 2, the same thing happens, but it looks very gory and really gives the game gritty, mature feel. Well, I'm not sure if people will have the time to appreciate the blood splatters or look at its patterns to determine the enemy position, but it's a really nice touch. New responsive smokes. Previously in Counter-Strike 2, landing a smoke in a certain area will make that area covered in a grey fog, which is, that's what smokes do. Nothing that the players could do to remove the smoke until the time for it had expired. While in Counter-Strike 2, the smokes are completely different. They are visually upgraded, volumetric, and looks like a natural smoke pouring out of a grenade. It's not just this, but as the smoke develops, it forms around the area it was placed, and the physics for this one is very impressive. The smoke can expand to a surrounding area as well. The smoke is responsive to guns and explosions. For example, if someone pops out an explosive grenade next to the smoke, it will completely disappear for a few seconds. If your teammate or enemy shoots at the smoke, that specific area gets carved out, marking the area on the other side visible. There are new competitive possibilities that an overhauled smoke grenade brings in a Counter-Strike 2. Match ends if cheater is detected. Valve have using the VAC or the Valve anti-cheats since ages on all its multiplayer games. While this is constantly updated so that the developers can catch on new hacks to provide a streamlined gameplay experience, Counter-Strike 2 will reportedly feature an upgraded version of the anti-cheat system called the VAC Live. One notable thing about this feature is that the Valve developers have made it so that if a cheater, maybe like someone using an aimbot or wall hacks, is detected in an ongoing match, it could get banned swiftly. And if that ban happens, the match will end right away. Valorant had similar feature in its kernel level Vanguard anti-cheat system, which notifies the players that the match has been terminated because a cheater was detected. It's important to note that the new VAC live anti-cheat system is definitely not a kernel level like many other games are. Source 2 game engine. Counter-Strike 2 has been completely revamped with a new game engine. The older Counter-Strike Global Offensive had been based on the Source engine since its release in 2012. Valve's other love child Dota 2 got the Source 2 update a long time ago. Players had been waiting for the same engine upgrade to their favorite FPS for several years, and finally the overlords listened. Counter-Strike 2 is going to be based on Source 2, and with it comes with an arsenal of new features. This means the game is going to feel quite different, and it's not going to be just visual change. A brand new user interface. The user interface in Counter-Strike 2 is a brand new with many visual changes to the game's HUD and the main menu. This includes a new look for the in-game moments such as the team selection screen, match end phase, and more and more and more. Taking inspiration from the Valorant, the UI also brings a new feature to show your kill counts. With every kill, your player gets a visual representation is presented at the bottom, and once you get 5 kills, the card deck completes and shines to depict an ace. New gun models and updated skins. The gun models in Counter-Strike 2 have also been updated. In addition to this, the existing skins look drastically different now. all your skins will look super cool. Thanks to the new Source Engine 2 that brings many visual changes to the lighting system and the materials in-game. The C4 bomb also is gonna look different now. Valve say that all the stock weapons have been upgraded with better, high-resolution models, and as a result, many existing skins will look much better. Players have been trying to reflect the sun of their various skins to observe them in many angles. Counter-Strike 2 Audio Rework. In addition to the visual indicator for the audio and the radar, Valve claims that the sound engine in Counter-Strike 2 has been updated. The new game will have more distinct sounds that express what's going on in an image in a better manner. While in CSGO had further spatial audio since some time, and to be honest, it felt quite good. Now it's hard to say how much better this new sound rework will be, especially in relation to the 3D audio. In addition to this, we have a new game sound. A whole lot has been changed. If you play the game in a beta, you'll notice that every single weapon has a slightly different or even significant changed sound. As seen in the clips on the social media on YouTube, Counter-Strike 2 gun sounds more realistic and better defined. In addition to this, players also get new radio announcements, and Valve has rebalanced the audio so that it's more comfortable. Visual audio indicator in minimaps. The radar in Counter-Strike 2 has been updated and it now includes a visual indicator for your footsteps. There will be a circular ring around your character whenever you make a sound, and this indicates the area in which the other players can definitely hear you. New and old maps updated. While in Counter-Strike 2, many old maps have received a complete overhaul with a brand new look. Popular maps like Dash 2 and the Mirage have been enhanced with the visual quality upgrades that the Source 2 engine brings. Also, by noticing the props in the game, they point to the fact that time has passed. Some of the maps have been updated with new models for various objects such as the sinks in the overpass being replaced from a basic one to a modern one. Valve has classified Counter-Strike 2 map overhauls into 3 categories: upgrade, overhaul, and touchstone. So what's the difference? Well, in the touchstone maps, few alterations have been made, but the changes can be observed. In upgrade maps, the lighting materials and the reflections have all been upgraded dramatically. And in the overhaul category, Valve says maps have been fully rebuilt from ground up. No sub-tick system. Multiplayer video games have always been the network problems, plaguing players and affecting their gameplay. Obviously, a game cannot fix a player's network instability. But even when everyone in the match has a good connection, there are inconsistencies caused by the different latencies. After all, people are playing from their homes in different locations. Valve has apparently redefined this netcode of Counter-Strike 2 with a new sub-tick engine, and its functioning sounds too good to be true. According to Valve, with this new netcode, Counter-Strike 2 will know precisely when players move their mouse and fire their shots. So things like peeking, jumping, and shooting at players should be much more responsive than the previous 64-tick netcode engine. There are a ton of subtle qualities to life changes too. You can see your own legs, the minimap shows where on the map you can be heard. Enemies can now ragdoll on top of each other instead of clipping through each other. Taking bullets produces a directional blood effect to clue you in your shooter's location. Molotov's cocktails produce huge pink, orange gouts of flame when thrown and use the same realistic fluid sim shader, just as in Half-Life Alyx. Sounds have been reworked with much more prominent environment effects, and equipping a grenade in practice mode provides a picture-in-picture view of exactly where the grenade will land if thrown. That's all the great stuff, and it really feels like the combined output of at least 3 years of ideas and experimentation. Thanks for watching.